Alright, what's up guys? This is Anthony from RG Reviews again, and what I got here for you today is a CZ52, and this is chambered of course in the 7.62 by 2.5 Tokarev round. And this gun is a particular interest to me because I really do like high velocity, high impact rounds, but I'm really not into, at this point, spending $500–600 on a decent revolver. And also kind of like semi-automatics. I really want to get a revolver at one point, some revolvers probably, but right now semi-automatics just got me and I just can't get away from them. So this is just going to be a short review on this gun. Couple points that I'm going to elaborate on, and also a couple pieces of history that I'm going to go ahead and share with you. I'm not going to go too much into history because honestly I'm not really that interested in the history of this gun. Whereas it is full of history and it has been used for a long time and was used for a while. It's just not really that important to me necessarily. So as you can see, this is not the factory color that it came. Usually it would come with like a black coating. They were refurbished in the 80s, I believe, and when they were refurbished they went, I think, a flat black after they were refurbished maybe. This is just a OD green. This is just a Krylon camo paint job. I just did this because my vest is green, and I kind of like the green anyway. I really am an OD fan, so when I went ahead and took this gun apart and sanded it all down and painted it, and I wasn't too worried about ruining it. As far as a gun, like a collectible, this is really not one of those. I mean, you could collect it, I'm sure, and I'm sure at one point it may go up in value a little bit, but so many of these were made, and not only were so many of them made, but you can pick them up for around $200–250. I do believe that they pass for curio and relics, so you could probably buy this and have it sent directly to your place of business if you have a curio relics license, or to your home as well, I believe. So we're just going to do a little bit with this. I'm just going to show you your basic field strip and show you a couple of the features. I'm not going to take the barrel and the spring out because it's a real pain in the butt to try and get back in. I know how to do it. It doesn't matter how many times I've done it. It's just a pain every single time. So I'm just going to show you a basic slide or taking the slide off, and then I'll put the slide back on, and you can figure out the rest from a online website or something. I'm not too worried about it. But what we're going to go ahead and do first is I'm going to go ahead and strip safe check the gun. So I'm going to drop the magazine, and it does have a heel or European style release. Not many European guns really use this release anymore, so I don't know if you'd really call it a European style any longer. However, it does have a heel style release, and in order to release the magazine, what you're going to do is you're going to have to go ahead and pull this tab back until it releases the magazine, and then you're going to press the magazine out. When the magazine comes out, you're free to pull it out, and there it is. These are 8-round magazines. They're all steel. They're actually pretty tough. I've had both of these magazines since I bought the gun, and I haven't changed anything, or I've cleaned them maybe once or twice, and I don't see any noticeable difference in the spring tension or anything. So they're actually pretty decent magazines. Now we're going to pull the slide back and show you that it is in fact empty, and then I'm going to show you something that a lot of people really don't realize they can do with their CZ52s. Even people who've had them for a while, is they do have a slide lock right here. This bar that comes across is actually a slide lock, and when you lock the slide to the rear and push that bar up, it's going to lock your slide back. I've seen a lot of mods where people have welded or done some sort of modification to this little bar right here to where they can get a good purchase on it, and that way when they want to drop the slide, let's say that there's a full magazine in it, and they want to drop the slide, they just drop that down and it'll go forward like that. However, I just haven't done it yet. I probably will do it in the future, but with these grips that I have on it, it kind of makes it almost impossible for me to even reach over there with my thumb, so I'm not too worried about it at this point. As you can see, since I racked the slide to make sure it was safe, the hammer is back, and this is in fire mode. Now if I had a magazine and or a round in the chamber, this would be dangerous. Of course, guns are dangerous when you don't know if there's a round in the chamber, so as we've already checked, there is none. But in order to drop the hammer safely, you could either do it the old style, where you hold the hammer and pull the trigger and it'll drop. Safety's on, by the way, so pull the trigger and it'll drop like that. Or also you can just use the hammer drop or decocker. Now a lot of people will say that there's a problem with these, and especially in older guns or guns that may have some kind of malfunctions going on, where when you actually drop the hammer with the decocker, it can fire the gun. I don't necessarily know, how you would tell that it's going to do that, other than maybe just dropping the hammer and seeing if it fired. Maybe probably should be at the range when you do something like that. But so I'm not really going to worry about it. I do know that I've dropped the hammer on mine with a loaded chamber, and I've never had a problem, so I'm not too worried about it. But we're going to go ahead and drop it like so, and I'll show you how that works. Safety, other than that, is basically like a 1911. It's backwards, obviously. Up is for safe, down is for fire, just like a 1911. However, the way it's mounted is mounted in the exact opposite direction of a 1911. So in order to take the safety off, same thing with 1911, you just flick it off with your thumb. They're pretty stiff. It's kind of hard to flick back on with your thumb, but you can do it. You just got to get some thumb strength going on there. But putting your safety on is probably nowhere near as important as taking your safety off. So I'm not too worried about that either. The grips that I have on this gun, I looked everywhere for the paper. I originally ordered these grips online. I looked everywhere for the paper to find out, where I could find these, where I bought these grips at, so I can give you guys the information, but I cannot find it. They do have texturing on one side, like so, and a little bit of a palm swells going on there. And then they also have the thumb shelf and texturing again, where your fingers will wrap around if you're a right-handed shooter. And I probably would have spent more time looking for them, except for from firing, I guess, I'm not sure. There's little grooves on the inside of these that hold the grips in place. And if you notice this right here, it moves around. It's because those little grooves are broken off. So this is actually not on there very securely. Just really this clip is holding it on. It still fires fine, and it's still safe to fire, but it's just these just move around a little. Another thing is that when I put these grips on, I had to sand them down for about 20 minutes to get them to fit just right, because they did not fit the gun fresh from the way it was. And then I also had to take and deepen these little notches in the grips so that I could fit this tab over it, because they would not fit as they came from the manufacturer either. So see how that is. But let's talk about the round a little bit. Go ahead and set this down, and I'm going to talk about the round. I'm not going to go really deep into the round, because a lot of people have used this round, and if you haven't used the round, it's a lot of fun. You should probably go ahead and try it out. But I love this round. 7.62 by 25 Tokarev is a really nice round. Now there's a few different kinds of loadings that you can get for this. I'm pretty sure they go all the way from mild, where you're looking at say 1200 1100 feet per second. Those are usually going to be new manufacturers, to really hot loads, to say the ones that are used that were supposed to be used for the PPSH submachine guns. The submachine gun ammo, I know, runs upwards of all the way to 1600 feet per second, and is supposed to create up to 400 foot-pounds of energy. And then it goes all the way down, like I said, to 1200. Your standard load basically is going to be about 1450 feet per second, and it's a 74 grain cartridge. Now a lot of these loads are internationally anyway, a lot of these loads are actually like a mild steel with a copper jacket. So these are technically armor defeating rounds, and I think that the sale in the United States is actually illegal of those rounds. However, they also have just these regular factory full metal jacket rounds. This is the old manufacturer stuff, and this stuff also is capable of defeating, I think it's level 1, level 2 body armor. So this is dangerous stuff as well. A lot of places that you go, if you try and shoot this stuff, they'll use a magnet to see if there's steel in the actual round, because if you have a steel cord bullet, it can hurt the bullet traps, and also if you're firing at hard targets, there's a higher chance of ricochet, which can be dangerous to the shooters and or anyone else that's at the range. But this is a pretty sweet round. A lot of muzzle flash. It kicks pretty decent. Very loud gun, but actually really accurate. This gun, even though the sights aren't that great, this gun is actually really accurate out to a good distance too. I mean, with the velocity, and it's actually a pretty flat shooting round, you do get some pretty decent accuracy. Now this is the magazine. This is a loaded magazine, which I'm about to kick off the table, because I don't really like to have loaded magazines or ammo really around the guns when I'm doing reviews. But this is a loaded magazine. This is basically what they look like. Like I said, it's all steel. These hold 8 rounds. They're good magazines. I think the main problem with the magazines and with the gun is the heel release. When you get a heel release, especially for Americans like I, who am just really used to using just a old Browning style, or the push button behind the trigger guard style of a magazine release, is just kind of difficult to me. Also, it's kind of cumbersome. It seems like it's kind of odd that you would need to use both hands just to take your magazine out. I guess we got it right, and we kept getting it right, and they got it Yeah, let's just call it, they got it wrong, and they kept getting it wrong for a while, but I think they've caught on since then. So, but yeah, this is actually a pretty decent magazine. A nice thing about these mags is they're very slim, almost like a 1911 style magazine. Of course, they're not quite as wide, but so you can carry quite a few of them. I have a Glock, or a magazine holder, magazine pouch that goes on my vest, and I can carry 3 of these in one Glock magazine holder. And so, you know, I've got 3 of them on there, so that means I can carry 9 magazines. Of course, with 9 magazines, you're looking at 8 rounds. You're still only looking at 72 total bullets, so it's not a big deal, but that's pretty sweet magazine, pretty sweet rounds anyway. So we'll get that out of the way, and then we'll go ahead and pick up this one. This is the empty magazine. This is the one that I usually keep in the gun because it's just a little bit smoother on the sides, and it just slides in better easily. So go ahead and put that in and see how it is one more time when you do the magazine release, just show you how irritating it really is. Because imagine you're shooting the gun, and next thing you know, bang, you're empty, and in the middle of something you gotta reload your gun, you gotta pull the release, you gotta pop the magazine out, which always gives me a problem. And finally you get it out, you pull it out, and you try and put another mag back in. It just seems like it just wasn't very well thought out. But the gun, regardless of its shortcomings, the gun is just so much fun to shoot because it's so accurate, it's so powerful. The flash is really bright, especially at night. I mean, you shoot the gun a few times without any kind of eye protection like sunglasses or anything at night, and you're just blinded for a while. So it's really fun to shoot. Coolest thing I think about this gun, probably the best thing about this gun, is that you get surplus ammo like this. Now this is just Soviet, I think, reproduction surplus ammo. And the cool thing about this ammo is that $7 buys you 70 rounds. Now, when you think about ammo prices the way they are, and you can get an old style gun that was used and was in service during the Cold War and everything, and all the stuff that happened in between then with the Soviet countries, you get to use and fire a gun from that era, and you only have to pay $7 to get 70 rounds. Now, look, if you had an old 1911 and you were firing 45 ACP ammo out of it, and you're talking about 70 rounds, which is a box and a half almost of 45 ACP, you're talking about probably $25 probably, and this is only $7. So for the same price as 70 rounds of 45, I can literally get 210 rounds of the 7.62 by 25, and 210 rounds, if you're just sitting around plinking, is basically a few hours at the firing range that only cost you $21, and that's a good deal. I'm going to show you the sights a little bit, and then I'm going to take the slide off, and I'm going to show you how the slide comes off. The sights are basically just like a 1911 style sights. They're kind of difficult to see. Really thin blade up front, narrow notch, U-notch in the back. They're very low profile. They're not snag free by any means. They're kind of sharp on the corners and they stick out, but they are very low profile sights. And speaking of low profile, the whole gun actually itself is extremely slimline. This is a really slim gun. If you were to carry this gun, not that you should probably carry this gun as concealed carry, but if you had to conceal a gun, this would probably be a really easy gun to conceal, given that the grips are very wide on this particular firearm, so it's probably not going to work out too well in that aspect. But all around, this is actually a really easy gun to carry around. It is a little bit chunky, but no biggie, right? I mean, you can carry it around because we're men, so no big deal. One more thing that I wanted to talk about with this gun is when the slide is, when you release the slide, and I'll show you this, is actually 2 notches, almost similar to like the old school style. Like you would think that maybe Glock took a note from this, because this is actually really easy to disassemble. What you're going to do is you have 2, one on each side, and with your thumb and forefinger, all you're going to do is push down. Now the second you push down, you'll hear it click and the whole slide comes off. It's that easy, seriously, it's so easy. And then in here, of course, you have the rocker, the rollers locking lug in here, which is really strong. It's also really difficult to take apart, really difficult to put back together, but I like the gun anyway. I'm not too worried about it. Plus, I mean, not how often do you actually have to field strip your gun, especially if you're talking about a range gun? Probably close to never. So yeah, that's basically what we got going on with that. This is probably my favorite pistol for under $300 that you can buy. Like I said, this gun right here, particular gun, cost me $300, and I got, or actually no, this gun cost me $200 even, and I got the 2 magazines with it, and later I bought the grips for about $30. So it's actually a really good deal. And I mean, a gun that's been around for so long. This particular gun was manufactured in 1954. and that you can still take out and shoot anytime you want. And if something does go wrong with it, as long as you know, hope to God it doesn't kill you or anything, but if something does go wrong with it, it's not like, you know, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg to replace. So it's actually a really cool gun. If you see these around the shop, go ahead and give them a try. I guarantee you'll enjoy them. They're a lot of fun to shoot. Really cool gun. And if you're interested in the history, there's probably some cool videos around that have a good deal of the history on there. I'm just not too interested in it. So, well, I appreciate you watching, and thanks for the views, guys. We really appreciate that. And y'all have a great day, and we'll keep the videos coming.